You want to know how to build your wealth without giving up your money today? Stay tuned. So we are back once again, like we are every Wednesday at 11:05 Central Time, here to engage with you and you with us. And we've got a great show here today on NoteSchool TV. Super excited to have some of our guests. But before we get into some of that content, like always, I gotta say, if these videos are valuable, please give them a like. It helps us kind of better understand what content we should be bringing across the web into your home, into your device, whatever that is. And make sure you're going to subscribe to the channel if you're wanting more content just like this. And if you want the most up-to-date content, the easiest way to do that is make sure you're here with us every single Wednesday live for NoteSchool TV. And the number one way to do that is what? Click that little bell. That bell notification will simply send your device an alert saying, hey, they're going live in 30 minutes. Make sure you're jumping on. This allows you to bring some comments, some questions, engage with us, bring your ideas, and let's kind of chit chat and hang out and kind of talk about the business. And so, as always, before we get into the show, there's two things I've got to mention. First of all, if you're trying to figure out what that next step is, we're talking about what would that look like to not have to give up my money today in order to build my wealth. And you want to know what that next step is. For some of you, it could be a lot of things, but for some of you, maybe it's just going to noteschool.com/TV to learn a little bit more, and we'll continue to dig in from there. So let's get into it. And as always, we've got to start with one of the most interesting parts of the show. We've got to hear from our good friend Joe about the latest in the news.
Well, good morning, Brian. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
You know what? I'm just peachy after having a long weekend and, doing some grilling and all of that. So all good.
Love it.
So the big question today is, Brian, as far as the news goes, it's where are older and younger Americans settling, right? So if we look at the map of the United States here, we will see that, well, Miami, Florida, probably didn't pick the right color there, is the number one space for folks that are retiring. So we look at this and we go Miami, we go Tampa, then oddly enough, Pittsburgh, right? And as we go down the list, we'll see that, mostly you have older Americans kind of stick to the East Coast. And last week, when we were doing the show, NoteSchool TV, we had the migration patterns, right, of folks that were kind of moving throughout the United States, whether young or old, right? And Miami was the number one, Sacramento was number two, Phoenix, Las Vegas, and Tampa. And if we look here, as far as where the older Americans moving, well, it's Miami and Tampa. So most of those are in Florida, right? So then we move down to the youngest homeowners. And Brian, I'm sure that may not surprise you there, but Austin, Texas is the number one city in the United States for younger homeowners moving. So we have Austin at number one here, St. Louis. And look at this, 3 out of the top 10, we've got Austin, we've got Houston, and we've got Dallas are moving to Texas, right? And then, of course, Brian, you've recently moved, so now you're in the Denver area. I know you're right outside of Denver, but you're in the Denver area. So that's kind of what that looks like as far as where folks are moving today. But Austin is a hot market, right? And speaking of Austin, Austin's booming housing market is redefining what counts as luxury real estate, right? So 4 years ago, the median price of a house in Austin was $301,000. Today, it's $480,000, which is 59% increase in pricing over the last 4 years. And oddly enough, some of the real estate professionals that were interviewed for this story said that, you know what? $1 million doesn't buy what it used to. In Austin, if you had a $900,000 or $1 million listing, they would go, "Oh my God, Bill's got $1 million listing." And today it's just kind of like commonplace. So that is the news for today. And we are so glad that you're with us. So Brian, we are going to bring on our guest today. And this couple, they're an amazing couple. Came to NoteSchool back a few months ago, and they've got a great story, and we've become great friends over the last few months. And as their journey is, they've just gotten started with NoteSchool. So let's bring on Ryan and Jenny.
Hi guys.
Hey guys. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you guys?
Great.
Yeah, and how are things in Wichita?
Beautiful. For Labor Day weekend, it was great.
Good. Very good. So, Ryan, Jenny, you guys, I remember when Jenny was first on, and she you guys had just joined, and you were out of town and you couldn't make it. So you've been with us since what? Since March?
I think that's
April, I think, was the official.
End of March, 1st of April, right?
School, 3-day seminar,
Right. Very good. So tell us a little bit about, and why don't we go ahead and do this? Let's go ahead and bring on our chief innovator, visionary, founder of NoteSchool, Mr. Eddie Speed.
Morning.
Good morning. How is everybody?
Good.
Awesome.
We are very good. So, guys, tell us a little bit about your life before NoteSchool, right? Kind of where you started and so on, and then we'll kind of move forward from there.
Go ahead, Jenny.
Well, we've been married 16 years now, and had some interesting ups and downs in our marriage and professional lives. Prior to this, we were in the firearms business and had a nice indoor shooting range here in Wichita, Kansas. It was beautiful, the biggest here. And it went well until it didn't. And that was a big shakeup, which was good. And it kind of changed our whole trajectory of our way.
Jenny got involved in real estate. She works as an independent agent with Keller Williams here, one of the brokerages here in town. And she's been killing it. She lit the real estate fire, so to speak. And coming out of a large self-employed business, I didn't want to have employees and things anymore. So I got interested in real estate investing and started doing the fix it, flip, wholesale, whatever that means. We did a little bit of everything. And somewhere throughout that process, we ran across a podcast or something with this guy named Eddie Speed on it. And he started speaking to us, and it didn't at first, actually, Eddie. I listened to several months of podcasts with some of the different guys, and you seem to be coming up on multiple ones, not just one guy. There was this guy over here that we were familiar with and trusted, and then you came on another one, and it just kind of continued like that down the road. And timing is everything. So at one point in time, when we started seeing this housing market go crazy like it is, you were talking about that, and I said, Jenny, I think it's time we look at some of these note things. And I got into a 3-day, and that's it. That's where we are.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Joe, I know that you had been a part of helping them get started, as you are with a lot of our high-end students. And so I thought it would be fun for you to introduce Ryan and Jenny today, and because you have been an integral part of them getting started.
Well, these guys are what we define at NoteSchool as action takers, right? Yeah. I mean, it was, they just point them in the direction or give them a little bit of encouragement, and boom, it's right, it's right down the middle of the road, and it's kind of like we used to say, Katie, bar the doors, right? So it's just been a lot of fun to have you guys as part of NoteSchool, and as we move forward. And it's funny, Ryan, I was telling Eddie before the show, before you guys were on, I said, Ryan and Jenny bought their first note, and after you had completed that, you sent me a text. And do you remember what that text says or said?
Oh boy, it got me on the spot. I sure don't, Joe.
It said, "Wow, Joe, this was way too easy."
Way too easy. That I do.
You remember that?
Yeah. The note buying process leaves you wanting more.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
And
anyway,
that really is probably because of NoteSchool or Notes Direct. They make it easy. I mean, I'm sure it would be a much more of a process somewhere else.
Right.
Well, I think the Notes Direct allows somebody to not have to go run a big marketing machine to go find a note. That's really that was our mission, and that was our vision when we set it up. A lot of people said, "Oh, I'd love to add notes to my business. I just don't need to go have a note buying company as something else I have to add to my task list." And so that was a way that they could do it. So I'm gonna dig off a little bit into really, I want the audience to really realize that you don't have to give up everything to go start this. And I think that's a key thing that, in really just knowing your story. I mean, Jenny, you're killing it. You're a broker in real estate, right? And you're having a great year doing it. And Ryan, you've not give up the other side of the traditional real estate investing. And so that's a big deal. Like people say, I love what Notes could do. I just can't carve out, another piece of myself. And so I want to talk about that. Like how do you balance? Where is your balance?
So, balance to me is an interesting term. I don't know that we have a lot of balance. We have focus. and I say that because it's more about focus for us. We have a family with 2 kids, a 9-year-old and a soon to be 5-year-old. And they kind of run the house. They kind of dictate our schedules and our balance, right?
Yeah.
And we want them to be able to do everything, so we're pretty accommodating and flexible. And that's an important thing, that Jenny being a realtor and in control to some degree of her own time, and myself running the investing and note business gives us a lot of flexibility. So we create a perceived balance, but we're able to focus on the work when we need to, and put in the time. It doesn't take. I suppose everybody could spend any amount of time they want to. I probably spend somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 20 hours a week on it. So I think that probably gives you an idea of maybe our balance and things.
I got it. And you guys have been really active. So, I mean, you're seeing results from what you're doing.
We are.
It's kind of funny. I was kind of looking through and thinking about your story before we started the show. And so I talk a lot about burnout landlords, right? Like the feeling that people have when they bought a rental property thinking they were making an investment and found out they bought a job, right?
Yes.
And so apparently that happened to you guys.
It did. My very first one was a duplex, and I felt like a good deal. It was both a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, and it was in a great part of town. And I got I bought it from a wholesaler. And so I felt like I got a pretty good deal. It's the managing and the chasing and the dealing with problems and, having to go find rent when it's not coming in consistently. And then I had one side vacant for months and months and months, and I couldn't myself fill it seemed. And so I brought on a management company. Well, then, there's more money going out the door. but it was much easier at that point. But after, I think it was a year and a half, I was done. The market had ticked up enough that I was able to sell it and get all of our money back and then some. So it was a heck of a deal, but it was a job. Took a lot of time, a lot of headaches. It was just a fascinating education.
He's not telling you about the roof that we put on, the new HVAC units, the stove that went out that was full of roaches and things that we had to take care of. So there were things in there that
it was fascinating.
We learned.
I have a long real estate friend, and he says that the typical investor for rental properties is promoted the property, meaning that somebody's done a great job and run you a spreadsheet, and they've given you all these numbers, and they've built the financial model for you, and they said, here's what you're buying, right? And in reality, I laughed and I said, yeah, but the spreadsheet and your checking account don't talk to each other.
Yeah, right.
Right?
They give you what they call a pro forma. Right.
Yeah.
So I think it's really interesting. So you have, because of your personal experience, and I suspect many people, on the show today or watching the show today or in the future, like a lot of NoteSchool people have been landlords, and they said notes are way more scalable, way more lifestyle oriented, all of those things that we do. But you're now targeting landlords with a what we call a tax strategy, right?
Yeah. So I'll jump in, Jenny. We've been working with you guys at NoteSchool and things. You developed a real flow. You had I'm sorry, a relationship with real flow and brought that system into us and things, and we jumped on that, and that's been fantastic. So without too much, focus on that enables us to find the burned out landlords in certain areas and then send mail to them. And you guys came up with a postcard and things, and we've dropped that mail last Thursday because of the holiday weekend here and things. It should be landing in their box today or tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And I think Joe's a little in front of us, and there's a couple other guys a couple days in front of him. So between all of us that are working that system, Eddie, we should start seeing some results here.
Yes, we will.
But it's been fantastic.
Yeah, and the focus is the landlord would reposition themselves. Instead of being the landlord, they would turn into the bank. They would owner finance the property for you.
That's right.
But the angle is approaching them because these landlords we're targeting have owned these properties for a few years, and the real estate's been good to them, right? The real estate values have had a lift in it.
Absolutely.
What hasn't been good to them statistically is the tenants.
Right.
And so they are positioning themselves for a lot less aggravation. And, it's always time to sell in a hot market, right? I mean, I listen to people that have all kind of projections about the market, and it's best it's going to be. But the trees are going to grow to the sky and all that kind of stuff. And who knows? We've never seen this kind of a market condition before. But it does seem smart that you're soliciting an investor and you're showing him a tax strategy where he can take this capital gains on his property, but he doesn't have to go take the money. He can set the capital gains process in place, but he can pay the tax out in the future.
Sure.
There's only one strategy in the world the IRS allows you to do that I'm aware of, right? And that is a method of seller financing, and the IRS application of it is called installment sales. And so I think this is going to be really exciting for you guys. Joe, I know you're doing this campaign as well.
Right. Yep.
We're doing it. Joe, you're doing it independent of NoteSchool or right. Colonial. And so, it's a way that I believe that it's the most motivated seller in the market. And I think then obviously you guys are going to buy the property, get the landlord to carry terms, carry the financing, and then you're going to do a wrap note. And now you've manufactured, think about this, your own notes.
Yeah.
Right. That's right. And I love that process. We'll find a penalty box buyer, likely, you know, and put them in there and cover the difference between, create a difference between their payment and the subject to note. So
That's it.
Yeah.
I like the fact, you know, and you had made some notes for us to kind of help us out a little bit with some of your focus points. As you said earlier, you guys have been good at focusing. And that is, you totally you've not given up your transactional income,
Right.
but you've now focused more, making sure you have a piece of your income that is not just money today,
Right.
but it's long-term wealth.
That is our plan. That is the plan that we are working on actively right now. We are utilizing the notes and trying. The plan is to do more partials and continue with the partials and things. Own the back ends right now. We still like to increase some transactional money now. Everybody would, but Jenny is providing that at the moment, so we are able to focus on the back end. We're trying to get that coming in.
I think the landlord piece, I think you're going to be surprised. I think you can make, Jenny, double or quadruple, twice as much, 4 times as much that you could make a real estate commission just actually reselling the house from down payment from this buyer. And we know statistically that there's this huge gap in the market of people that are great people, but they can't get a conventional mortgage. What you referred to, Ryan, is the penalty box buyer. So I don't think you're giving up as much transactional money, you know, as people might think. I mean, because you are doing something that's going to produce good income today, but wealth over time. And that's
Absolutely,
to me, Ryan, if you're wondering, like, when do I give up the house flipping part of my business? You may have a tough decision to make in a few months, because this may be so good it forces you just to give up the regular flipping, and you may never give it up. But
Eddie,
it's great to have the option. Yeah,
We're okay with that.
That's not going to be a hard decision for me. So,
Well,
the notes gives us a lot more freedom and a lot more
Opportunities.
and creativity
so
within the notes. That's what I love about the notes versus a house. If I buy a property, I've got to fix it or sell it. That's the only way I can, or rent it. I mean, there's really only 3 things that I can do there, but that's it. With a note, I've got all these different strategies and things that I can sell it, keep it. There's just so much flexibility in it, and it's fun.
You know, one of the things that I want to make clear to everybody that's listening today as well is that understand the benefit for this burnout landlord that we talk about is that they get, once you've dealt with them and you show them, they can get what they wanted when they bought the rental in the beginning, right? What did they want? They wanted passive income. And then you find out, and that's what a lot of people do. They wanted passive, but then, you got the roof, you got the stove with the roaches, you've got all of that. And it's like, whoa. And of course, now you've had the pandemic. And so you can give them the passive income. And the thing that I love about what we're doing with this is then you can help someone get into a property, a penalty box buyer. And then you've created, you know, one of the things that we say is money today, because you can make transactional money today, but then you've got money over time, right? And that's cool. The cash flow is great.
Absolutely.
Super.
Well, so Jenny, your brokerage, your real estate brokerage side, the way you guys are sort of telling the story, or the way I'm following it, you're going to continue to do that. You're not giving that up, right? I mean, if the market got bad, you could focus less on it, but real estate brokerage is great. And I love the fact that you guys are a perfect example of what I think some people see as notes. People see the financial opportunity with notes. Most people that go through the 1-day class and the 3-day class and all this stuff, that you guys have been through, it's not like the money sort of speaks for itself, right? But the other thing is that you seem to be very comfortable that you've added this on a part-time basis to your business.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
We love
Definitely.
the freedom that it currently allows and that it's going to continue to allow in the future.
It's good hand in hand with the residential sales side of it too. I mean, maybe somebody won't want to sell via owner financing to him, but maybe I could sell his property, and get him some money fast.
That's true.
That's a great way to think of it.
One of the things you said too is, about the time factor, and what you're having to do right now, Ryan, you working on this, you're having to put in more time because you're going through a new skill set of learning, right? And then at some point in time, it just, the learning or the time per week drops off, but the income kind of starts going up, right? And that's the other part of that. I love it, right?
We're looking forward to that, Joe.
You know what? It starts out with so I think, I appreciate your NoteSchool journey, and I think that it's always easier to make a plan work when you have truly guidance and education that's going to help you get there, right? No doubt about that. The second thing is that you have been good students, and thank you for that, because it makes us look smart, right? And it makes us successful because you have had focus and you have had determination. And part of it, Jenny, you sort of got off into the pain of having another business that didn't work out very well. And, here's the good news. The sun came up again.
It certainly did.
Oh, yeah.
And so I've seen that many times. I've seen people that aren't where they are. They think they're not where they want to be in life, right? They're in whatever age and whatever life cycles and whatever, they're just not where they want to be. And I got my dad in this business at 68 years old, and my dad passed away in his mid 80s and told me, if maybe 1,000 times and maybe 10,000 times before he passed away, he said, "Son, I've loved this more than anything I've ever done."
Man, that's fantastic.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. All right, let's bring Brian back. He's been patiently waiting.
No, I love it. I think one of the things I just got to chime in real quick and say is, like, it's very relatable. I think kind of your story to so many of the people who have either heard about the note business or entertained the note business, because I think for those who know my story, this is one of the biggest hurdles for me to kind of pushing it off to the future. Is Eddie talks about these amazing wealth building strategies, and people like me don't listen to the whole sentence. We just kind of hear a part and go, I guess it's not for me. It's only about building wealth. And I got kids who like snacks, so I need money today, right? Yeah. And so it's always encouraging, I feel like, to so many investors that they can see somebody not have to give up a today income scenario, that they can say, oh, I can actually just adapt my business either to the market condition or to the lifestyle choices that I want in order to still make a living today, but also not have to give up the building wealth thing for tomorrow. So
yeah,
You just got to start. Just do.
Yeah. And isn't that it? Like, it doesn't matter how brilliant of a strategy someone has, how many deals somebody they're learning from has done. If you don't actually go out and implement this stuff, if you don't go out and even just go to a website and click the buy button to easily be able to buy a note. I mean, yes, you're not going to get anywhere. And I think that's actually a really great segue as well for one of our sponsors for NoteSchool TV. And that's right. NoteSchool TV is sponsored by Notes Direct and the Feeding Frenzy Friday. Notes Direct is simply a platform where you can go on and buy a performing or non-performing note as easy as you would buy anything else on the internet, simply by researching the note you might want to be interested in, do your due diligence, and click that buy button. You too could be a part of the note business, just like our guests. And each week, actually, we have a playlist called Feeding Frenzy Friday, where each week we take one of these notes from Notes Direct and we break down the details of it to help you better understand what it is, who it's for, and help you better master that level of due diligence so that you become a note ninja yourself. And so make sure you're checking that out here on NoteSchool TV.
Brian, Jenny, thank you guys for coming today. Your story means a lot. It means a lot because just your transparency of everything in businesses in the past isn't perfect, and the sun will come out again. And your story about shifting part of your activities to not just make money today, but also you can make money today from those activities and money in the future, build wealth. And what that means to your family, and it's just a great story. So thank you guys for sharing it.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us on.
Yes,
we appreciate it,
thank
guys.
Okay. You bet.
Put NoteSchool together.
Yeah, all the information you put out is fantastic, and us getting a chance to plug into all of it and learn more. And what I like is the back end stuff that we have access to, all the archived information, because sometimes I don't get a chance to be there live, so I get to see it later, and that's huge for my schedule.
That's great.
Well, you know, guys, it's like a wise man once told me. He says it only takes 5 minutes to come up with a new idea. Wink, wink, nod, nod, Mr. Speed. You just have to know which 5 minutes it's going to be, right?
That's it. That's been my life journey.
Right.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks so much for being on today. Thanks for watching. And Brian, why don't you take us home?
All right. So for everybody else, thank you so much for joining us. Really excited that we had another great NoteSchool TV. If this is valuable information that's for you, or maybe even somebody else you know, there's a couple things you can do. You can like the videos, you could subscribe to the channel. And as always for NoteSchool TV, you can definitely click that bell notification and simply be notified when we're going live so that you too can jump on and engage with us. And if it's something that you feel like it's maybe for somebody else, maybe it's for family or friends or a colleague or something like that, you can click the share button, grab the link, and you can text that to a friend, email it to a friend, and let them engage in the same experience so that they are getting the same content to help build their wealth, help their family, or help their business. And so as always for NoteSchool TV, there's a couple ways if you're looking for some help to get to that next level or to take that next step. You can always go to noteschool.com/TV to learn a little bit more. You can also just go to the NoteSchool website, click the Contact Us tab, and simply fill in your information, figure out what we need to help you with, and we'll reach out and try to help you take that next step on your journey, whatever that needs to be. And so as always, we really appreciate you joining us this week. We'll be back next Wednesday at 11:05 Central Time, just like we always are. And until then, I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you on the other side.